and welcome to day 17 of the July daily vlogs. Well, it is afternoon now and it's Sunday. Had a lovely day yesterday with the family, and it was lovely to spend a bit of time with Milo as well. It's a crazy puppy. He's still crazy. We had a couple of glasses of gin, a gin shot. So, yeah, and a lovely barbecue. It was really nice. Lovely to see everybody again. And we didn't get home till about 10:30. And I must admit, I was yawning my head off, so I went to bed at 11:15. I said to Kevin, I'm going up and I'm going to take my listen to my book for a bit, and I did. Kevin followed me up basically. I nodded off to sleep, listening to my book. Woke up and thought, oh, how much have I missed here with the books? I had to stop it, so I turned my phone off and I went back to sleep, and that was it. And I woke up at 5:30 this morning. That's what happens when I go to bed early. I wake up early in the morning, which doesn't do me any good because I'm tired. So I've had a bit of a slow start to the day. I did manage to cobble together a small vlog for yesterday, which is already uploaded to YouTube now. I thought a small one's better than nothing. At least I've put one out there. So I've been doing that. Now it's time to sort of get on with some work, because I've had I didn't have breakfast when I got up. I sort of had a brunch really, so that'll keep me going for a while. So as I've got the afternoon to myself, I have got my Diet Coke there, my MDF mason jar there, and my red paint there. So I am going to crack on with this mason jar, and while it's drying I'm going to sort of layer up the cross stitch. So I want to get this finished as much as I can today, and if I've got a chance to do anything else I will do, but we'll just see how the day goes. So I will take you along with me. And I've just put my MDF mason jar outside to dry. It's cool in here in my room, in my sewing room, like, but outside it's quite warm today, so I thought I'll pop it out in the sun and it'll get dried pretty quickly. So I think while I'm waiting, battery's dying, hang on a sec. That's better, nearly lost you then. As I was saying, the MDF jar's outside to dry, and while I'm waiting for that, I thought I would get on with my cross stitch granny square and make it into my little cushion. Now, I have been asked to show how I'm going to do this, so I thought that's what I would do next. And then when the jar's finished, I can come back to that a little bit later on. And I've cut my piece of cross stitch down. I've got a 1/4 inch border around the cross stitch, and I've just cut some strips of nice pretty fabric to 1.5 inches wide. So now I'm going to attach this to this, and what I'm going to do is just put it on so the fabric is at the edge of the Ada, and then sew a 1/4 inch down. So I've got a little bit spare, oops, on each side. Right, now I've done that, you can fold it up like that. So that's the first part of your border. Now I'm going to do the opposite end down here. So this is going to be my next piece. So make sure you've got sort of equal hangover on each edge. And I'm just going to stitch along there, or along there. Now you get your third piece of fabric, and you're just going to pop it along the edge again, and you will sew across your excess pieces. I mean, you can press your other pieces of fabric with a knife or just finger press them. Either way works. And now we're going to do the same thing with the last piece. Just pop it on there. Make sure you've got your excess hanging over your other two pieces. Stitch along there. Right, so that's all 4 sides done. So I've just finger pressed. Now I'm going to cut off the excess pieces. Make sure you cut off the right pieces there. Now I'm just going to go and press this with the iron and make a start on the backing. And I nearly forgot to say, once you've got this piece pressed, you want to place it on top of a piece of wood just a bit of scrap wood just to give it a nice sort of padded feeling. So I'm just going to pop that on, and then I'm going to trim it all down to size before I do the back. Right, now I've got some fabric. These are just some squares. This, like I said before, this is just scrap fabric, and it's bigger than my front piece. And all I've done is I've just folded that in half and pressed it, so I've got a centre seam on both pieces. Now what I'm going to do is right sides together, make sure your fabric's going in the right direction. Place each piece on top of each other, and you can see your centre crease down here. And what I've done is I've put 2 pen marks on there, which I'll put a pin in so you can see it. And how I did that was I just popped that on there to see where sort of the top of the embroidery came to, and I've just popped a mark and a pin. I don't know if you can see it. So what I'm going to do now is stitch down the crease line there from the top to the pin, stop, and then from the top to the pin there, and I will be back with you in a second. And I've stitched this piece of fabric now to the top and the bottom piece, so I'm going to give it a quick press, just get rid of the little dots. Now if you just pick your fabric up, split your fabric, and then you'll have 2 pieces of fabric with a split in the centre. Now I've done mine double because I like the fabric on the back of my little cushions to be a little bit thicker than just a single layer. I think it just sort of sits better. So I find that's the easiest way to do. So what I'm going to do now is just going to press this out, make sure my edges are together. Now if you don't have a sewing machine, you can actually do this by hand. I would probably suggest you do a back stitch. Take your time, don't do too big of stitches, and if you have to go around again to make it stronger, do so, that's fine. Right, so we've pressed that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit my cross stitch on top. So you've got the centre of your cross stitch going down the centre of your opening. Now that all looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get some pins and pin that together. I'll just get 4, I think that's all we'll need. Just to hold it in place. Oops. And then we're just going to sew around the edges, 1/4 inch seam. Right, I will cut off this excess of fabric first. Don't think you could see that. There's a notification for my earbuds that keep popping up on my screen, but I don't think it shows up when it's up for you to see. So I'm just going to trim these by hand. Trim this by hand, I should say. Hope you can see this okay. There we go, last one. Oops. Just So now I'm just going to take this to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch all around 4 corners. So I'll be back in a second. Right, so it's all stitched around the edge, and if you turn it over you've got your opening there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chop across the corners like that, and you're going to do that on the other 2 as well, and then we're going to just take a bit off around the edge and then turn it right side out. So I shall be back in a second. And that's my cushion turned the right way, and there's my opening there. So now I'm just going to stuff this, and I'm just going to stitch the back up with a slip stitch. Now if you're nice and neat and you don't see your stitches, that's great. If you're not neat, it doesn't matter. What you can do is, once you've stitched it up, is over the stitch line you could put an inch wide strip of felt and stick it on with hot glue gun, and maybe decorate it up with, say, 3 buttons on, and that just finishes it off where your seam is, so you don't have to worry too much about having very neat stitching. So I will be back in a little bit when I finished it. And this is the cushion finished. So that's the back. As you can see, I've just hot glued that on for quickness, and that's fine. If you want to hand stitch it on, you can hand stitch your buttons on. I've just hot glued them. Makes life a little bit easier, but like I say, that little bit of felt just covers up your stitching. If you're not neat, it doesn't matter then, does it? And the back of your cushion's decorative. So now that is all ready to go, probably in my bowl in the kitchen to go with the other little cushions, and then it will probably come out here, and I might do myself a little sewing themed window decoration at some point. But that's one thing finished. I'm really pleased I've actually managed to get this finished today. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and check on the paint and see if it's dried, and if it is, then I'm going to get that little project finished off. So I will see you all in a minute. My MDF piece is all nice and dry now, and I've just used my hot glue gun and put some dabs of glue on and just wrapped the string around the front and the back. So that's going to be like the lid. So now I'm going to start and put my cross stitch and all the other little pieces on. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing how I finished 2 of my projects, which I'm really pleased with how both have turned out, and I can't wait to get these in the kitchen. I think they are lovely. It's perfect. This has turned out how I wanted it to, and so has this. Well, this has turned out better than I expected, really, and I'm really glad I decided to paint it red. It's perfect. So I hope you enjoyed that anyhow. Now I think I'm just going to pop in the house and go and get a drink and cool off a little bit, because I'm a little bit warm now because I've had the glue gun on and the iron on a little bit this afternoon. So I'm going to have a nice cold drink, and I'm just going to go and settle down in front of the fan for a little while, and I will probably make a start on stitching my crocheted strip into my blanket. So that'll be a nice sort of relaxing hour probably. And I can listen to my book then, because we're getting to the exciting part again. So hopefully I will see you all a little bit later on. And I didn't get my hour to put my fan on and chill out a little bit. When I got back in the house, it's like all the cats have decided they want feeding, so I got them sorted out. Then I found all my crochet bits out and my needle and everything, and I was going to settle down and, you know, chill out in front of my fan. That didn't happen, did it? I decided to start editing this vlog, and all the little snippets that I've taken today throughout what I've been doing with the cushion and the mason jar has taken me actually quite a while to edit. So I thought I better put some tea on. We're just having salad and like veggie burgers and some new potatoes tonight, so that's all doing. Salad's ready, the other things are cooking, the potatoes have just finished, so I thought I'd better come out here and round this vlog off, otherwise it's going to be another late one today, and we don't want that, do we? So yeah, thank you for joining me today. I hope everybody's had a good Sunday. I hope the weather's not been too hot for you, because I know it's in some parts of the UK it is pretty hot with this heat wave that we're going through at the minute, and I know it's going to be even worse probably tomorrow and Tuesday. Here it's, I don't know, I've been in most of the day. I've had my curtains shut to keep the sun out. So the house is not too bad at the moment. I think Bramble's the one that's struggling with the heat because she's so fluffy. So the fan's on in the front room and it's for her, not for me. So she's sort of, now she's got used to the fan being on, she's just sprawled out in front of it. So I think she's quite happy now. They've had a bit of something to eat, and yeah, they'll probably go back to sleep again for a little bit. Whereas Charlie and Elsa are back outside again. So they've been in and out all day. I try and keep them in when it's really hot, but they do moan a lot when they want to go out. So yes. So yes, like I said, thank you for joining me, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.